Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Home Wizards, your radio home for all things home, garden, and life improvement. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole here. And so you woke up with itchy eyes, or watering eyes.
Yeah, Willow and I, my daughter, who's 5, woke up this morning. You know, she crawls in the bed still every now and then. There she is, and she's like, "Dad, my eyes are itching." You know, and I felt exactly the same thing. And I've never had allergies ever, so it kind of felt like, wait, is this a new thing that's just showing up in my life, or is it particularly bad in terms of an allergy season?
Well, I'm hearing this is supposed to be a bad fall. I mean, I guess they always say that. Who knows? I get a lot of sinus pressure around my face, and it's really flaring up as the weather has been kind of stormy. You can feel the rain clouds and the humidity kind of building from day to day, on and off throughout the week. And so I just thought we'd talk about if there's a way to allergy-proof your home.
Yeah, and you know, from my end of it, it's always been like, how do I make my home feel more efficient in terms of dust and all, you know,
all
obviously the main thing is always like, you know, the filters in your air conditioning and heating system. But there's so much more.
There's so much. So we thought we would check in with a guy who knows, Dr. Peter Huynh. He's an allergy specialist, assistant professor at USC, fight on, clinical pediatrics and internal.
Don't you get a plug on that? Forget you.
Dr. Peter Huynh, hey, good to have you here.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So what do you think about Eric and his daughter feeling like their eyes are acting up? Are they getting allergies?
Yes, definitely. That's certainly can be the case. We're seeing a lot more prevalence of allergies, all kinds of allergic diseases, from asthma to eczema to hay fever, and a lot of it may be due to global warming that's occurring. We're having a lot more, the pollen counts are a lot higher than they usually are, so certainly that can be the case.
So global warming is, in my opinion, clearly showing up here, and I don't know why anybody disputes that, but evidence shows that pollen counts are higher?
That's correct, yeah, especially when scientists looked at, for example, ragweed, which is one of the most common pollens in North America, they found that the biomass of ragweed is a lot higher than it was before. So certainly the allergen counts are much, much higher than they were previously. And that can certainly affect your allergy symptoms. So
now what do I have to do? Am I a guy that has to go out and find someone like you to have that itchy eye thing go away, or is this going to show?
He's going to say yes. He's going to make an appointment.
Give me your number after the show.
Call right away.
Well, you know, I know that there's so many sources of allergens, not only in the home but outside in the garden. And I was sharing with you on the phone the other day, Dr. Huynh, how we are very close, good friends with one of our neighbors. And when we were deciding what kind of a tree to plant, we were just talking it over dinner, and they said, "Oh, please, can you not do that particular tree, because that's just going to kill me." And so we said, "Okay, we'll find another one. We'll go with the California pepper instead of, the weeping willow or whatever it was." And you're saying that while that was a nice idea, he still could be impacted yards away, feet away.
Right, even miles away.
Miles away.
Yeah, so, I mean, some of these pollens travel for many, many miles. So even if you have, the tree way down on your block or even across the city, you can still be affected by the pollen if you are allergic to it. So, although, yes, absolutely, it was a very nice gesture on your part not to plant the tree right next to him, but he can certainly be affected by trees that are much further away from his house.
So Cindy could basically say, "Listen, pal, it can be my tree or the one 5 blocks away. I'm still planting the tree."
Yeah.
Well, no, that wouldn't be very nice.
But what is the big thing that we're doing wrong with our homes? And is it possible for our homes to literally give us allergies when we didn't have them before? Like, can our home make us sick somehow?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are certain things that you can do to allergy-proof your house. First and foremost, to make sure there are not any leaky faucets or areas where there's water, where there could be mold growth. And if you are allergic to molds, then that certainly can worsen your symptoms. You can make sure that, the dust mites are controlled in your bedroom. And there's very simple steps that you could do, really inexpensive things that you can do to sort of allergy-proof your house. So the first thing, if you are allergic to dust mites, one of the things you can do is to purchase encasement, for your pillows and mattresses in dust mite-proof covers. Make sure you wash your sheets in 140 degrees of hot water at least once a week. Make sure that the humidity in your house is less than 50%, because dust mites really thrive on high humidity. You can do those sorts of things. when there are, high pollen counts, you can make sure that you close all your windows and use air conditioning instead. And I think Eric mentioned before purchasing HEPA filters,
Yeah.
or, high-efficiency particulate air filters. Those are really helpful in terms of reducing the allergens inside of your house. They remove about more than 99% of pollens, which are more than 0.3 microns from getting from going out. So I think some of these very kind of simple things that you can do to sort of reduce sort of the allergen load in your house would be helpful.
And then what do you think about carpet versus hardwood floors?
Oh, carpets, I definitely would recommend, removing carpeting and using hardwood floors or linoleum floors instead. The carpets, are an area where, dust mites can accumulate and dust can accumulate. So they can be a very significant source of allergens as well.
And is there a way, though, if you do have carpet and you don't want to get rid of it, to kind of de-emphasize the dust mite buildup that may show up?
One thing you could do is make sure you vacuum and shampoo your carpet frequently.
Oh, great. Guess what you're going to be doing?
I know.
Every day.
Exactly.
The one thing you make sure you want to do also is when you do vacuum your carpet that you wear a mask, because when you're vacuuming your carpet, some of that dust and dust mites can aerosolize, so that can cause significant symptoms if that happens. So make sure you wear a mask when you do vacuum.
And then a lot of the higher-end vacuum cleaners actually have HEPA filters built in, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I was thinking about the hand washing now that we're doing this kitchen remodeling, and my husband was saying, hey, it's Pioneer Cindy, because I was outside hand washing all of our dishes in this little bucket, but also we're hand washing our clothes. But if we were to drip dry our clothes outside, is that going to somehow bring pollen into not only our home, but now into the closet, and then now you're wearing pollen?
Absolutely, yeah. So that can certainly... that can certainly occur. So I would definitely recommend, certainly when the high pollen season, to instead of having your clothes dry outside, have them dry inside, or use a dryer instead.
And then are dust mites actual organisms?
Yes, they are. They are organisms. They're microscopic. You can't see them with the naked eye. You need a microscope to see them.
So between bed bugs and dust mites,
and rats,
we're really creeped out. We're not going to be able to sleep. We're just sitting. I just have visions of Eric there with a flashlight.
It could turn a man into Howard Hughes ultimately, and have a lot of paranoia going on. So when you're putting the covers around your pillows or your down comforter, you're actually keeping the dust mites in and not letting them get out into you while you're sleeping.
They actually feed on your skin.
Ew.
The scrapings from your skin, and so by purchasing these dust mite proof covers, you actually put them in and they die off. And also by buying dehumidifiers, you're not allowing them to thrive.
So keeping the home moist through humidifier.
No, not keeping the home moist.
Oh, you don't want it to be moist.
Yeah,
so dry is better.
In high humidity.
Now, see, that's kind of a challenge for me, Dr. Huynh, because sometimes when I get this sinus pressure, the thing that helps me is to use the humidifier as I go to sleep at night, even though it does kind of create the rainforest effect. I mean, you wake up and you go, wow, I almost feel like there's going to be some Jurassic Park creature coming out of these palm trees any minute. But it's very misty, and yet it gives a lot of relief where your sinuses, but you're saying don't do that. That's not...
because one of the things is, of course, like I said, you could have you're making the dust mite situation worse. The other thing is molds can accumulate in the humidifier itself. So what I would recommend instead, if you really have a lot of nasal congestion, is to use the nasal saline washes.
Oh, yeah.
And so those I found have been very helpful for my patients.
Oh, that's good to know. I have tried, though. Those seem to help a bit. Now, can I talk to you for a second about this whole mold idea? Because, I've spent so many years demolishing bathrooms as a contractor that have moisture behind the walls, and this is
it's
such a big deal, and so many people seem to be adversely affected, yet I have not really experienced firsthand anyone who really was going down with the what is it, Staphylococcus? How do you say it? The kind of mold?
Well, I mean the whole
or Stachybotrys or something like that.
It's a little bit different. Some patients may have exposure to molds, but that they're not necessarily sensitized or they're not necessarily clinically allergic to molds. So, there are patients who may just have sensitization to molds, but they may not have, a reactivity to the molds.
Right.
So it's very important to sort of when we see these patients to sort of distinguish from the clinical history what actually happens when they're exposed to molds.
Well, hold that thought, Dr. Huynh, because we have some more questions for you in terms of how to allergy-proof our home. And also, I want to know about our dogs, because our dog, Abby, is constantly licking her paws, and we were told that she has an allergy, and to give her Benadryl. And it's like dogs have allergies, too. So all this...
And, of course, I'm going to vacuum the studio while we take a break.
Okay, all right. You're listening to Home Wizards, Cindy Dole, Eric Stromer. We love to help you improve your home and improve your life. Don't go away. The fun continues here on KFWB. News Talk 980.
Allergies. Allergic to cats, allergic to bees, allergic to dust, allergic to trees.
From you. Achoo! Keep it to yourself. It's easy to do.
Achoo! Do you have allergies?
Boy, apparently I do.
You
now.
might. You and Willow, your eyes are itching.
Yeah, we are now
and I have
itchy eyes.
sinus pressure. And Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole here, talking here on Home Wizards, ways to improve your home and your life. And that just may mean how to allergy-proof the place where you live. So we thought we'd talk it up with Dr. Peter Huynh. He is the guy, allergy specialist and immunologist at USC. So thanks, Dr. Huynh. And you do not have allergies.
I do not have allergies myself, no.
But you could get them. You could.
I could, definitely.
You could. And you were saying that some of your colleagues who are around the topic so much that sometimes you wonder if they psychologically now convince themselves that they have allergies.
We've had a few fellows who've passed through as fellows or doctors who are interested in training more about allergy and immunology, and they start at the beginning of the fellowship without any allergies, but by the time they finish the fellowship,
so
some of them are sure that they have allergies.
So what's up with my dog, Abby, who is constantly licking her paws, and we were told to give her Benadryl, and so she seems to have allergies, and you're sharing with me that dogs take allergy shots a lot too now, just like people?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not a veterinarian, but I've talked to some of the representatives for the companies that supply some of the allergy shot extracts for us, and then they say that their biggest clients are actually dogs and cats rather than people, which is very interesting. So I'm not really surprised. And actually, a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a sort of a presentation or a lecture for some medical students, and I was trying to look up allergy shots to sort of give them pictures of what we do. And I've actually found more allergy shots on Google Images for dogs and cats than for people. So yeah, what you're telling me isn't very surprising, actually.
So they could be getting allergic reactions to not to the dander, but I guess to the dust mites on the bedspread or whatever.
And then why are people allergic to cats? Like I have a friend,
dogs.
Quint, who cannot come to my house because he's allergic to my cat.
Yeah, cat dander is one of the one of the most allergenic sort of proteins that we know of, and a lot of people are allergic to cat, and they can have anything from very mild reactions such as just itchy eyes, runny nose, to frank what we call anaphylaxis, where they have a systemic, really, really bad allergic reaction where they can't breathe, their heart shuts down.
Oh, geez.
Some people are just very, very allergic to cats.
So he wasn't faking, and it's not that he doesn't want to bring the chili to the house
No.
that I told him to bring. He really is allergic to cats. All right.
Well, what are some of the strangest things that you've seen people allergic to? I mean, we've heard about people are allergic to soy and to nuts and milk and things, but what are some really weird things?
They could be allergic to. People can be allergic to so many different things, all kinds of things. You name it, there are people and case reports out there that people are allergic to it. And actually there's a condition where people develop allergic symptoms only when they exercise after eating certain foods. So that's kind of very unusual. They eat, like, for example, wheat, and then only if they exercise within 4 hours do they have these allergic symptoms. If they just eat wheat by themselves, no problems. If they exercise, no problems. But if they put the two together, then they have allergy symptoms. So kind of unusual. That's probably some of the more strange things that I've seen. And
well, I'm allergic to cubic zirconium, just so you know.
No, you're Cindy. No, you're not.
Well, I can't. I do if I wear bracelets that aren't really gold.
Your hand gets brown.
It turns green.
I'm sorry to hear that.
All right, so help us allergy-proof our home. Let's start with the kitchen. I mean, the stove, for instance.
Well, one of the things you want to make sure with you don't want to have any wood-burning stoves inside the house, because the smoke itself can sort of lower your threshold for developing allergy symptoms. and smoke itself can be an irritant for a lot of people with allergies. So you certainly don't want to do that. Other things, you want to make sure that you clean the kitchen and the sink area pretty well. So you don't want to leave any food and things like that for rats and cockroaches. A lot of people are allergic to rats and cockroaches. So you want to make sure that you scrub the sink and faucets very well and remove also mold and food debris from those areas as well in the kitchen.
And the refrigerator too, right?
Yeah, because that really does
too, right.
attract a lot of dust when the filter and stuff are showing up in the back and the venting system.
Do you have a certain kind of a solution that you like in terms of wiping things down to kind of keep things at bay?
Yeah, if you see mold, probably one thing that you can do is just to have a 5% bleach solution to wipe away the mold, and that's usually very effective in getting rid of the mold.
Mm-hmm. Baking soda
in the kitchen. Of course, make sure that if you see any leaky faucets, any damp areas, investigate it. You might have a leak somewhere, and that could be just an itis for mold growth.
And then obviously getting into the living room carpet, we've talked about already, but you say get rid of it and go to the hardwood or linoleum or tile surfaces.
Yeah, I mean, that's ideal, but I know that's sometimes not practical. So, an alternative would be to make sure that you do vacuum your carpets at least once a week, if not every day, and wear a protective mask when you do that, and then also shampoo your carpets on a weekly basis as well, too.
This is like an extra burden.
No, basically, like if I'm trying to prevent bird flu, I wear the exact same outfit in my house while I'm vacuuming.
Right. Well, those masks would protect you from any kind of airborne allergens or contagions and whatnot, so it would protect you from it going into nasal passages.
What about curtains? I mean, it seems like curtains and blinds would just kind of collect dust over time if you aren't really diligent, and that might be, without you realizing it, the key source to your problems, huh?
Yeah. So you can try exchanging those curtains for washable curtains made out of plain cloth or synthetic fabric so that they can be washed. Or you can switch the curtains to blinds instead, which are, much better in terms of preventing allergens from collecting on them.
And then if you're somebody who has some pollen allergies, it's better to keep the windows closed and utilize your HEPA filter through your HVAC system than to have the windows open, correct?
Correct, yeah, because you want to prevent all the pollen that's in the outside from getting into your house. And, if some do get in, then, the HEPA filter should sort of get rid of some of the pollen that are able to get into your house.
And it still gets in through the screen.
Yeah, it definitely can. I mean,
because I love having the screen.
Small in size.
Yeah,
so it's starting to feel like Boy in the Plastic Bubble. You remember that movie?
Yeah. And then in terms of our pets, one way if we or other people that come over to our home are prone to being allergic to pets, maybe just bathe them more often, or is there some other kind of, powder or solution or something that we can wipe down on our dogs and cats so they aren't going to irritate folks as much?
Not really.
No?
I mean, the actual recommendation is to, try to avoid the pets as much as possible, or, find a new home for the pets if you are allergic to pets, but when I tell my patients, they're more likely to get rid of me than get rid of the pet.
Exactly, so. They're family.
Now, apparently my dog, Hazel the Labradoodle, is supposedly not as prone to giving allergies to
really?
folks.
It's in her genes?
Yeah. Is that true? What do you think?
I don't know about that. I think that may be sort of a
myth?
A legend or urban legend. But there's not really been any studies sort of comparing the different mixes of different breeds of dogs to say which breed is more allergenic than the other. So, if you do have symptoms, if you notice you have symptoms around certain types, then most likely you're going to have symptoms of other breeds as well, too. So the best thing you could do is, find a new home, but, of course, that's not practical. So, bathing your pets at least twice a week may reduce the amount of allergen and the dander that they shed. So that may be something that...
between vacuuming every day and taking cleaning her dog...
Let me lay it out for you. So if I have
it's a full-time career, right?
One of those space suits with a respirator, shave my dog's hair off,
washing them,
curtains, and live in a cinder block environment, then I'm good to go.
But you're vacuuming every other day, and then on the off days you're washing the dog. You pretty much have no time for anything else.
I have to quit this job.
Well, see, it's the thing. It's, you have your trigger right there is your cat or your dog, and if you still have your trigger right there, it's going to continually affect you. So that's why I know, as part of the American Academy of Allergy Immunology, we do recommend that if you are allergic to your dog or cat or pet, that you try to find a new home for them. But like I said, other things that you can do to sort of avoid that is to make sure you bathe them twice a week, not necessarily every day, twice a week, and then vacuum your carpets on a frequent basis and shampoo your carpets.
But the good news is that Los Angeles is not the worst city for allergies in the country. Is that right? That's what I heard.
I don't know what the worst city is. I don't. It's probably somewhere in the northeast.
Mm-hmm.
But we do get a lot of allergies here in Los Angeles as well.
Yeah.
And so what's the best drug to get rid of the symptoms of an allergy?
So the best medication for, hay fever or nasal allergies is what we call an inhaled intranasal corticosteroid. So it's a steroid preparation that you squirt into your nose 2 times once a day. And that what it does is it reduces the inflammation that's occurring in your nose.
Well, Dr. Huynh, thanks for sharing with us with USC. You do not have allergies, but you might be getting them. Just like we all could get. We're going to hope we don't. And thanks for helping us make our homes a little more allergy proof. And you have a great weekend. All right.
And I'll see you out in the parking lot.
And by the way, the worst allergy-prone city, according to online research and WebMD, it's Knoxville, Tennessee. And it just happens to be that way based on the pollen count. So there you go.
It's the home of HGTV, by the way. No wonder.
There they go. They're tickling the ivories and tickling our nose. Up next, we're going to talk about more ways to help you enjoy your home and your life. Home Wizards, Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. Don't you go away. We're having more fun. And by the way, as you're listening, you can listen again on the website at yourhomewizards.com. We're back after this.